Today we're going to be making a bolognese sauce. It'll be a chicken bolognese, which I'll explain more about in a bit. I'm going to start off with a mirepoix, onion, celery, and carrot. And we're going to throw in just a little garlic too. In general, it's going to be pretty straightforward. You're going to have the mirepoix, you're going to have some seared meats, and we'll simmer that with a little tomato sauce and broth. So this is when you start your ASMR video and realize your knife badly needs to be sharpened. So this is a little bit of a gruesome chop job. Bear with me. Definitely made me want to reshoot this part, but we're going to go with it. Things in life aren't perfect. My cooking isn't perfect. And it doesn't need to be in this case. So we're just going to finely chop the onion. And then we're going to do the same for the carrots and celery, of course. And I'm just going to work the knife back through, since we didn't get even small dice here, just to break up some of those bigger chunks. So we have a finer dice on the onion. Alright, and that's looking pretty good for our purposes here. Get that transferred to the bowl and make some room to cut up our other veggies here. And the reason I said this is a chicken bolognese, this recipe comes from Chef Massimo Spigaroli. He's an Italian chef. It's like a fancy Michelin-starred restaurant with a very complicated name. Just chopping up the garlic here. And his take on this is, I think he calls it ancient bolognese. And the idea being that probably in older times people would have used things like chicken and other sort of farmyard animals rather than something like a cow, which would have been much more rare to have the meat from that. And that sort of makes sense to me. I didn't do any further research. But it tracks to my mind. So really it's just a chicken bolognese. Chop up our celery here. We'll slice it julienne, and then we'll cut those crosswise to get that fine dice. Doing much better here than with the onion. slicing that celery up. Again, going to julienne, and then we'll go crosswise and dice that up nice and fine. There we go. I'm gonna go, it's basically double the amount of onion as celery and carrot. So let's go ahead and get that carrot next. Take the tops off there, break it down, give ourselves a flat edge so it'll stay stable as we start cutting it into slices lengthwise. And again, we'll slice these finer, go julienne, rotating to get that flat edge again. Someday we can discuss what happened when I didn't put a flat edge on the Brussels sprout. It was not good. This is my famous elbow cam. It's a shot I like to use for chopping vegetables like this. Let me know next time. I might do more of like the TV chef view. I think this is kind of nice and chill, but might be worth a shot to mix it up. Let me know what you might prefer. We got the carrots julienne, and now again slicing crosswise to go ahead and get those finely diced. That's looking pretty good there. Let's do the other half here. Get those slices and we'll turn those into julienne. And then dice them. Okay. Nice diced carrots. Add those to the bowl here. Perfect. All right, and then this is our chicken. I'm going to take the skin off here. I've got a couple thighs and part of a breast, skin on breast. So we're going to take that off. And we're actually going to use that skin in the sauce to add some richness. We're going to slice the chicken up into a fine dice like we did the vegetables. And I'm going to go ahead and speed through this part since slicing up raw meat might not be everyone's idea of great ASMR. So let's get that taken care of. Again, going to a very fine dice. A way sharper knife would have made life a lot easier here too. next time we'll get that sharpened up. Alright, and then what we want to do is get this skin finely diced. It's kind of a huge pain. So we'll also kind of skip through this part. I think like meat grinder or something like that might be ideal. Really work that, but we want to get it nice and finely chopped. And let's get our wine ready. This turned into the loudest cork pull ever, so we're going to edit that part out. This is just a Sauvignon Blanc. Let's get some oil heating in the pan. It's a canola oil. We're going to get it nice and hot. And get those meats in there to sear. Get just a bit of color on there, seal in some of the moisture. Just get a really good sear on these guys. So I basically only work from recipes. I'm not like a chef who comes up with ideas. In this case, it wasn't the exact recipe. I watched the video that chef has put out and kind of adapted and eyeballed things. It's actually how I kind of started cooking more as a teenager. Family tradition of being good cooks, so I learned some stuff. But then when I wanted to go into some different types of cuisine, I would watch cooking shows and write down what they did and make the recipes based on what I saw. So yes, I'm someone who actually made food for cooking shows. I also find them entertaining to watch, but so yeah, that was kind of the same approach where I saw the chef do his bolognese in this way and adapted it here. So credit where credit is due. I suppose with some ingredients in front of me I can figure a few things out. I have enough experience at this point, but I like to have the structure of a recipe, kind of know what I'm going to get, kind of hone my sense for what's going to work for me. I make no claims to authenticity with this dish, though authenticity is a bit of a nebulous concept, honestly. Mostly because everything's a bit more dynamic than sometimes it's made out. That's mostly due to the commodification in our society. Wants to like package things up and sell them as authentic, and driven somewhat by, I think, a desire for authentic things because we have a lot of manufactured stuff and a lot of broken connections to what's come before. But yeah, I think, two people even from the same region, household to household, can make things differently. They make it different depending on what's available, what time of year, what era it was. Everything's just a little more dynamic in the world, so see that less about trying to get the right answer and just appreciating that there's a lot of different ways to do things. And to really appreciate that diversity, find what works for you, and be happy for someone else who might do it differently, but it works for them. So that was kind of a rambling aside about maybe the origin of dishes or some of that commentary, but our meats are nice and seared. Got that beautiful fond on the bottom of the pan there. So we're going to set these meats aside for a minute so we can work on the vegetables. Let's get some butter in the pan here. A little bit of fat from the meat. And a little bit additional here with the butter for some richness. All right. Get our vegetables in. And we're just going to cook these down, cook for a few minutes. A classic sweat. Nice and colorful. So much flavor in there. Alright, I'm going to scrape up some of that fond that's starting to loosen up with the moisture from the vegetables. Incorporate that wonderful flavor into our dish here. Okay, let's let that cook a little bit longer. Alright, things are getting pretty happy here. So let's get our wine in there. A good amount. Help provide some brightness. Counter some of the richness of the sauce. And so we get that in there, and then we're going to cook that down till the pan is basically dry. Alright, that wine is cooking off. And here it's basically all cooked down. So let's get a little bit of tomato in there. Not too much. This style of bolognese has just a hint of that. It's not like a big, thick red sauce. And we'll add our meats back in. Smelling very good. Let's get some salt. And then we're going to add broth. This is chicken broth. Let's get that incorporated. It is store-bought broth. Yeah, don't make my own stock. I have, but it's rare. Grind some pepper. Definitely would be even tastier with a homemade stock, but a little bit easier this way if you don't have any made. And now we put in that chicken skin that we prepared. So that'll definitely add a nice richness to the sauce. House is smelling very good right now. Alright, get that all worked in. It's boiling. We're going to bring it down to a simmer. And we're going to put a lid on there, and then this is going to simmer for a long time. Probably 3 hours total, maybe. So it's been simmering. You can see it's thickening up. And it's been about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. This goes in about half an hour, maybe before the end, approximately. And it's some Parmesan cheese rind. Just add another layer of umami flavor to this. Nice richness, saltiness. All right, and that's gonna simmer. Okay, I have some nice fresh pasta here. Again, this is store-bought to make life a little easier. I do like making pasta, but I don't know, my spaghetti would not be that pretty. So we're gonna boil that for a couple, 3 minutes. It's actually gonna finish in the bolognese to help those noodles absorb some of that wonderful flavor. And here we've cooked down the sauce. It's been simmering for quite a while now. I actually took this down a little bit thicker than I wanted to. There's a little bit more liquid as we bring the pasta in, but that's okay. We're not going to reshoot the whole thing. We're just going to live with it. Still going to be super tasty. Still is going to work. But yeah, it's wonderful, rich, fragrant sauce. And we're going to get the pasta in there. Alright, so let's transfer those noodles into the sauce. A little bit of pasta Water to help loosen things up. And we're just gonna get those noodles finishing up in that sauce. It's gonna be so delicious. So cook for just a little bit. Just enough for them to take on some of the flavor. Alright. This is looking good. Alright, and we are ready to plate this up. Pull those noodles out of the sauce there. And I was planning to do a more elaborate plating. On the fly, I decided I would just go kind of simple and take this approach. Wasn't quite as elegant as I hoped for, but this was all about eating it more than the visuals. So let's top it with some of that wonderful sauce and hit it with some cheese to finish. Perfect. Can't wait to eat.